Welcome back to module 3 of OB. In the previous sessions we were discussing about the concept of OB, then the various definitions and the multidisciplinarity of OB. In this session we are going to discuss which are the disciplines that have contributed for the OB as a separate domain. To start with, OB has borrowed so many things from psychology, because without psychology there is no OB. So in the study of OB we all see that we see the study of behavior of human beings in an organizational setup. So as we understand, each and every human being is distinct and different. So with that perspective, so the psychology has contributed immensely for the development of organizational behavior. So let's understand. So it is the study of behavior and mental process of a human being that are affected by the physical, mental and environmental conditions. So in the previous sessions we also seen how motivated employees contribute better to the development of organization, and how demotivated or dissatisfied employees contribute to the negative growth of the organization. So the psychology is the study of behavior and mental process of a human being that are affected by the physical, mental and environmental conditions. If a person or a worker or a laborer works too much and he puts in lots of physical efforts, so beyond certain point he or she may not contribute at an optimal level. At the same time, the modern workers like IT workers and or knowledge workers, they undergo a lot of mental pressures due to the pressing schedules or tight targets or whatever it is. They also beyond certain point, so they also go through a severe mental pressure. So that is also either the moderate stress is a good stress or too much stress is a bad stress. So we are going to study how these physical, mental and environmental conditions. So even in the previous things also we have seen So this in the environmental conditions also makes the employees more productive or less productive. In an organization setup, the seating arrangement or the factory atmosphere or the office atmosphere should be conducive enough to perform. It must be conducive enough for an employees to perform in a better way. If you don't give a right environment, the employees might not work in an optimum level. So therefore psychology plays a very important role in contributing to the OB discipline. Then comes political science. So political science is the study of behavioral sciences in political environment and focuses on disputes within the group and intra-organizational politics and authority issues. So a lot of we have seen so many organizational politics. We are not talking about the politics outside the, not related to this one. So, we are talking about the politics that happens within the organization, and power and authority related issues. So, lot many things have been borrowed from political science. Then sociology. This discipline contributes significantly through the study of group behavior in complex and recognized organizations. So, we will see we have a pictorial depiction of how various disciplines have contributed for the emergence of OB. Then comes social psychology. This integrates sociology and psychology and discusses barriers and acceptances across groups or individuals within and across organizations. So, this is within as well as across organization, how this the psychology pertaining to the, so it's a, social psychology is a combination of sociology and psychology. Then anthropology. Anthropology focuses on comparative attitudes, values and cross-cultural analysis, which has a lasting impact on organizational culture and surroundings. So, anthropology also contributed very greatly to the development of OB. So, let us look at this picture, the diagram which shows how these individual behavioral sciences led to the contribution of so many these things and how they have made an impact either on individual, group or organization system, and finally leading to the study of OB. So, first let us start with psychology. So, psychology has contributed as far as learning, motivation, personality, emotions, perception, training, leadership effectiveness, job satisfaction, individual decision making, performance appraisal, attitude measurement, employee selection, work design and work stress. So, it's so on so forth have all come from the psychology. So, this entire thing pertains to the individual. Then comes social psychology. So, this social psychology as individually, so it talks about behavioral changes, okay, attitudinal change, communication, group processes, group decision making. So, because this discipline has led to the emergence of groups within the organization. Coming to the sociology. So, this sociology, one talks about communication, power, conflict and intergroup behavior. So, again it contributes to the how employees behave in a different setup when they work in a group and when they work on an individual basis. In addition to the contribution of in a group basis, it also focuses on formal organization theory, organizational technology, organizational change, organizational culture. Of course, this thing contributes to the organization system. Coming to the anthropology. So, this anthropology talks about comparative values, comparative attitudes, cross-cultural analysis that pertains to the group. Apart from that, anthropology also contributed as far as organizational culture, organizational environment and power of an individual or an authority in an organization. So, if you look at the various disciplines that have contributed immensely to the emergence of OB, and as we understand, although it is 75 to 80 years old, but still it is slowly evolving. It is taking so many new disciplines into it. There is a technology component also in it, because of late without technology there are no organizations. Okay. So, these behavioral sciences like sociology, psychology, social psychology, anthropology have all contributed, and that led to the study pertaining to the either individuals or group or organization system. So, that it becomes study of organizational behavior. Then what are the subfields of OB? So, here it is divided into 3 subfields. First one is micro, that is focused on individuals. So, it has taken on experimental, clinical and organizational psychology. So, then we have meso-organizational behavior that focuses on groups. In this, communication, social psychology and interactionist sociology plus the origins of other 2 subfields are taken into it. Then macro-organizational behavior. So, that is again focused on the organizations that talks about sociology, political science, anthropology and of course economics. In the previous slide, the economics was missing, but economics also contributed, as we have seen with the example of Adam Smith. He advocates the division of labor. So, economics, the field of economics also contributed very greatly to the OB. So, it just it looks like this. So, here you have micro, then here you have meso, then this is on the macro organizational perspective. Or if you look at in this setup, so this is micro, this portion is meso, then this outer layer, this is macro. So, this is how the subfields of OB can be studied. Now, so after studying the origins, the brief history and the contributing discipline, now what is the span of this OB and what is the nature of it? To start with, first one is organizational environment. Okay. So organizational environment, again it comprises of individuals, groups and organization. Then individuals' performance directly impacting organizational performance. If individuals do not perform properly, so it is going to reflect on the organizational performance. So that is why we are focusing more on psychology, because each and every human being is a distinct and different. So his nature, his behavior, his background, his environmental conditions are all are different. So that is why individuals may not behave in a similar manner than that of others. Each and every individual behave in a different manner. So that is also, that study also comes under here. Then comes group and intergroup behavior. We have seen in the various setups and various studies, individuals perform better on their own. But in some cases, if they are asked to work in a group, they may not perform to their optimum level. Because if anything happens, or the inferior performance of group that happens, so that will fall on the group, not as an individual. So that is why some people or some employees may not work in an optimal manner when they work in a group. But of course, if they given a chance to work in an individual basis, they work in a better way. Because it is very easy to pass on the failures on the team, but in case of individuals it is not the case. So you cannot pass on the failures, you are accountable, because the task is limited or given only to the individual. Then organizational structure, behavioral process and design. So organization structure also plays a very important role in defining the nature and span of organizational behavior. So again, if you go back to the previous slides, so this talks about macro. This organizational environment talks about macro. Okay. So this talks about micro. This group behavior talks about meso. So this is the span and nature of OB. Now, so what are the goals of organizational behavior? So looking at this, so here organizational behavior is a focused one. In that we have 4 components, 4 goals. First one is identifying people's behavior. Then comes setting norms for appropriate code of conduct. So setting norms means how individuals or how groups have to perform or how they have to behave. Okay. Then focus on inter and intra-organizational relationships. Then focus on organization structure and reporting. So to start with, identifying people's behavior. So time and again we have been discussing about the individuals' behavior in an organization, their working conditions, their background, their ethnicity, their culture, educational background, demographic background, everything is built upon on a particular person's behavior. Then setting norms for appropriate code of conduct, because although individuals, they might work in a different setup, but there has to be a certain code of conduct for them to act or behave in their organization setup. Then comes on the inter and intra organizational relationships. So as we discussed, we all work very effectively and efficiently when it comes to an individual basis. But at the same time, when somebody is asked to perform in a group setup or between 2 groups or 3 groups or 4 groups, so then he or she may not perform at the best level or at the optimum level. Because working on individuals, it is fine. So working in a team, little complex. Working between more than 2 groups and 3 groups and all, that is also still more complex. Why this study or this goal is very important base? Because if they don't work in a proper manner, in a set defined manner, or if they don't follow certain code of conduct or norms or guidelines given by an organization, then they might not produce the desired effectiveness or efficiency. It just happens, that's what, not in a very effective and efficient manner. We have seen in the previous slides also, OB is all about study of human behavior in an organization that contributes to the, see, all this, whether it is individuals or groups or intra-groups or within groups, they all work for only one thing, that is to achieve the organizational objectives. We are not talking about the individuals, they work for their own objectives. Of course, they are there. They work for their own objectives to make their livelihood, to enhance their career opportunities, to move up in their corporate ladder. Everything is fine. But are they in line with the organizational objectives? That is more important. So that is why, so after taking all these 3 things, it comes here. That is, focus on the organization structure and reporting. How you are doing it? Are you following the organization structure and reporting manner? Are you reporting to your higher authorities? Are you communicating to your higher authorities? Are you following the norms that are being advocated or given in the guidelines or in the procedures laid down by the organization? So these things matter. Again, in case if they are not, again it focuses, comes back. So it's a continuous process. So goals will never remain same for any organization. They will keep on changing, and they might vary from one point in time to another point in time. So that is how the field of this OB has emerged. We are finishing today's session. Thank you very much.